Somebody leave a comment. It's coming out like a fire hose now, because it is. Welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. I am your host, Neil Johnson. I am excited to be with you and to share this smashing report with you, folks. I mean, this is awesome. It is great news coming in. So I just, this is so great. I really am so excited about this. And I'm trying to pause my screen in the back so I can leave comments for you if need to. But here's the thing. So you guys all know about the release of the January 6th footage to Tucker Carlson, and Tucker's already been doing some pieces on that, which are phenomenal. I'm not going to be redundant here with the stuff Tucker's doing. This is actually another story which is phenomenal, but does involve the J6 narrative. And it's really a big deal because Nancy Pelosi's basically been found out. And we knew this all along, but we have the receipts now, people. This is what you need to understand. We have the receipts. Please do smash that like. Please do chat in with where you're from. B-Dog, good to see you on. Barry, good to see you on from Sturgis. Barry, I got to get out to South Dakota. I might be out there in a couple weeks to go do some coyote hunting with my son out there and shed hunting. Try out my new down sleeping bags. So anyways, I'm very excited. Schumer was having a heart attack on the floor about Tucker. Jason M. Schmidt said, yeah, so here's the thing. What would be so damaging? Because obviously, if the narrative is what the Democrats told us, why would they care? Release it all. I mean, gosh, it's got to be good. You got to see more people going crazy, right? See, yeah, I mean, if we're just all a bunch of crazies, right? If all these ultra mega, they're all crazies, they're all just going to be doing crazy things. But here they are, taking selfies on the floor, and being led around like, the Capitol Police were tour guides. It was crazy. I watched that Tucker thing. It was amazing. But this is, I think, even bigger right now because it just shatters their narrative. And again, I tell you folks, some of you are going like, Neil, this isn't new news. It is new news because we have just gotten the receipts. So the House GOP has now located the emails and texts showing Pelosi's office was directly involved in the failed security on that day. This out of just the news. Now, Democratic leadership blamed for knee-jerk reaction in failing to equip police and security staffers' email after tragedy. And I want you guys to, before I get into this, I want you to remember a couple key points. Do you guys remember that Steve Sundin and then the other guy were both, canned? Okay, that's the head of Capitol Police and the Senate Sergeant at Arms, and they were both canned after this whole event. And coincidentally, just before he testified, the Senate Sergeant at Arms he shot himself. He got. And then it's perfectly normal, just like, what just happened in Arkansas and all the police officers involved in the Wiener, I can't believe his name is Wiener laptop scandal. Is that 9 of 12 who have now committed suicide? I think that's what the numbers are on that. That's wild, of those directly involved in that. I don't have any dirt on the Clintons. I just want y'all to know that, and I'm not feeling like I shouldn't be here. I just let's just throw that out. Okay. I'm sure they're not after me. I'm kind of small time, but where's Fetterman? Well, Janelle, did you see they produced a video just to show you're still alive? But here we go. This is where it gets good. House Republicans gathered a trove of text and email messages showing House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office was directly involved in the creation and editing of the Capitol security plan that failed on the 6th. And during the riot, and the security officials later declared that they had been denied, get this, again and again, the resources needed to protect one of the nation's most important. This says homes of democracy, folks. We are not a democracy. We are a republic, and there is a big difference. Democracy is majority rules. They keep using that word. They're trying to dumb us down. Don't let them. Please do smash that like. And I got to mention my sponsor, MyPillow. MyPillow.com. Promo code Lumberjack. Save you up to 66%. You get some of those slippers. You will love them. You get some of those Giza sheets. They are the greatest. the mattress toppers. I mean, you guys saw my unboxing video with my kids. That was funny stuff. I had no idea I was going to knock everything off the wall. But, and then, of course, the new MyPillow 2.0 is out. So go get some of that good stuff and support the show that way. I also did pin my merchandise store. So the internal communications were made public Wednesday in a report compiled by Republican reps Rodney Davis, Jim Banks, Troy Nehls, Jim Jordan, and Kelly Armstrong that encompasses the results of months of investigation. They did evidence that had been ignored by the Democrat-led committee. The lawmakers were authorized by House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy to do their own probe. Now, here's what's interesting about this. People, you have to realize they didn't need to produce subpoenas. They didn't need to bring all these people in. They didn't need to, do this one-sided investigation. All they did was produce the emails and we got the goods. This is like, how efficient. We didn't need to spend millions of dollars. We didn't need to bring in a producer, Nancy Pelosi's daughter. She's a producer out in Hollywood, I guess, or maybe it's not a producer, maybe an director. Anyways, that's what was going on. So I gotta punch him in the face. Gotta punch Trump in the face. Bear a hole. I mean, come on. This stuff is so ridiculous. Could you imagine if you were out there trying to say that you were gonna punch Nancy Pelosi in the face? I mean, what would happen? I mean, it's ridiculous. Anyways, the report concludes the Capitol was left vulnerable on January 6th, the result of failures by the Democratic leadership in the House and law enforcement leaders in the Capitol Police, who allowed concerns about the optics of having armed officers and National Guardsmen visible to the public to override the need for enhanced security. Which is funny that they would say this. I want you to think about just how ridiculous that is, because afterwards, right, if you want to talk about optics, they put up a whole fence with razor wires, double walled, and had National Guard all over the place in D.C., crawling all over the place. But, all of a sudden they're concerned about optics then? BS, people. I'm calling BS on all of this, okay? Let's see here. Leadership and law enforcement failures within the U.S. Capitol left the complex vulnerable. The Democrat-led commission in the House of Representatives, however, has disregarded those institutional failings and exposed the Capitol to violence that day, it concluded. It also corroborated prior reporting by Just the News, and Capitol Police began receiving specific warnings in mid-December that there could be significant violence planned against the Capitol lawmakers by protesters planning to attend. Now, if you watch Tucker Carlson's piece, you know that the majority of those people, and he showed the huge crowd outside, and the people that were inside, many of them just being led around by Capitol Police, doors being open for them and whatnot. They weren't like a crazy mob. Now, I will say that there were certainly some people there who I'm sure had violence in mind. They were mad. There's violent people out there. Okay, so whatever. But that was not the majority. And the fact of the matter is that, and Tucker made this point too, and we've always wondered, what's up with Ray Epps? What's up with all these people? And why was Ashley Babbitt shot when, she's small of stature? Michael Byrd did not need to do that, and so on. That's all real, okay? Prior to that day, the U.S. Capitol Police had obtained sufficient information from an array of channels to anticipate and prepare for the violence that occurred, the report noted. You can read the full report here. This is on Just the News. I will share this, so if you guys want to get this article so you can share the article out, you can, or if you want to follow along as we go through this. But there it is. Let's see. Our report exposes the partisanship. This is so great. All right. Our report exposes the partisanship. This is Jim Banks talking. Our report exposes the partisanship, incompetence, and indifference that led to the disaster on January 6th and the leading role Speaker Pelosi and her office played in the security failure at the Capitol, he said. Unlike the sham J6 committee, House Republicans produced a useful report that will keep Capitol and USCP officers safe with no subpoena power and no budget. That's what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, they had no subpoena power and no budget. They just produced the receipts. Anyways, the report also does not sugarcoat the behavior of pro-Trump supporters who stormed the Capitol. On J6, 2021, criminal rioters assaulted police officers, broke into U.S. Capitol, damaged property, and temporarily interfered with the certification of states electors. Okay, so at a joint session of Congress. So again, they're not. I mean, there were people. I mean, and look, um, you can say what you want about anything, but what's the truth is typically, uh, I'm just telling you, man, the truth is the truth. It doesn't matter if you like the truth or not. Yeah, Roseanne Boyland, Annie, she was she beat to death with a stick. I saw that video. It was appalling. It was shocking, like a big oak club or something. It was ridiculous, man. They just pummeled her, and then tried to blame it on a fentanyl overdose or something like that. No, that was the George Floyd people. I mean, it's just ridiculous. I just, oh, my head hurts from all this. But yeah, the truth shall set you free. So the bottom line is, people, I don't want you to think that everybody's just like good actors that day, because they weren't. There were people who were intent on doing things, but it was not the majority. And most of the people who did end up doing things then was not pre-planned, but they were actually instigated by operatives like Ray Epps and so on, who was out there with Bullhorn telling them all, trying to get them riled up, and the guy up on the scaffolding, Bullhorn man, and then the fence cutter guy, and all these different people. So, but its most explosive revelations, okay, involved the text and email messages. Here you go, people. The most explosive revelations. Okay, but its most explosive revelations involved the text and email messages showing that two key staffers in Pelosi's office attended regular meetings to discuss the security plan for J6 dating back to early December 2020, and that Pelosi's top aide even edited some of the plans. Most of those discussions and meetings excluded Republicans. Then House Sergeant at Arms Paul Irving, who served on the Capitol Police Board by virtue of his position, succumbed to political pressures from the office of the Speaker. That would be Nancy Pelosi. Pelosi and House Democrat leadership leading up to January 6th. He coordinated closely with the Speaker and her staff and left Republicans out of important discussions related to security. After the devastating events of the 6th, when Pelosi forced Irving to resign, so that was it, the House Sergeant at Arms, Paul Irving, he was forced to resign, if you guys remember this. A staffer in the House Sergeant at Arms office sent a stinging email suggesting the Democrat leadership had made Irving and Capitol Police Chief Steve Sund the fall guys to cover up for the failure of lawmakers to provide adequate security resources. And they did. So basically, they pressure them. It's so freaking politics, man. So they pressure these people ahead of time and say, no, we can't do this. And then afterwards, when it happens, they take none of the blame and they deflect it and put it all on these two guys who told them we need a better security plan. This is politicians. Okay? Oh, man. Anyways, so somebody said the House Sergeant at Arms, Paul Irving, died. That was, I believe, the Senate Sergeant at Arms. Let me just double check this for you people. Okay. So Paul Irving, that was a different guy, because it was Mitch McConnell's dude that got, he was going to testify. Is he American law enforcement? He faces scrutiny. Former Senate Security Chief dies. So that was Stephen Sund. Okay? That was Stephen Sund. He was the Capitol, former Senate Security, death not considered suspicious. So here, now since we're going on this, let me see. This is going back. Michael Stenger. That was the guy's name. Thank you. There. I just found it. The former Senate Sergeant at Arms. He's the one who died. Handling of, I'm sorry, it would have cut out there for just a second because a call was trying to come in. So Michael Stenger, the former Sergeant at Arms, so I'm on a different article now, just looking, this is back from June 28, 2022. Michael Stenger, the former Sergeant at Arms who oversaw Senate security during the J6 Capitol insurrection, was found dead Monday morning, two sources familiar with the matter said. Stenger's cause of death is not yet known. U.S. Capitol Police declined to comment. The medical examiner in Virginia did not handle his death, a spokesman said, indicating it was not considered suspicious. Fox News reported that Stenger had cancer, but I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, was he, I can't remember the exact details surrounding his death. Okay, but yes, he was the one that actually had died, and it was immediately before he was supposed to testify in front of Congress. Hey, good to see all you on, 1,203 of you on. Yeah, keep smashing the like, keep chatting in with where you're from so I can see. Kevin from Wisconsin, good to see you on. And drop a comment, and please support the sponsors. They support the show. All those links are in the description. MyPillow.com, promo code LunchRack. Save you up to 66%. Had to get that in there. Sorry. And subscribe if you're new. But we're just going through, for those who are just joining the stream, we are going through the fact that we have now got the receipts, the emails that shows Nancy Pelosi was directly involved in this. And we, of course, talked about this before, but now we actually have the receipts. And this is all due to Republicans taking over control of Congress. So whenever you say that none of it matters and they're all the same people, I'm so tired of that argument, because it is not all the same. I'm not saying, I think I've heard Dan Bongino say this, so I'm going to give him credit for it. He said, Republicans are not the answer to all your problems, but Democrats are the problem. And he's 100% right. And I understand the uniparty stuff. Man, Mitch McConnell is no good. Okay, these establishment hacks are no good. But do not think for a second that you are better off with Democrats in control of Congress. Okay, it's crazy. All right. Watching from Montana, Shirley, good to see you on. You know, hey, if anybody's on this channel, sorry, I'm taking this quick moment, from Wyoming, I am going to work to get a Wyoming elk tag next year. I've been building a few points, but I need somebody who lives in Wyoming to get in touch with me, who would be willing to go so I can get to the wilderness area where I want to hunt. Okay, so if you are from Wyoming, go to my NLJBooks.com website and you want to go elk hunting with me, I'd love to go. All right. So after, let's go to, somebody said it's not an insurrection. I've never said that it was. If it was the dumbest insurrection of all time, with absolutely zero military involvement and almost zero planning. Seriously, this is so ridiculous. Okay, so yes, but Pelosi had forced Irving to resign. And so then going back to this, where we were was basically, but we need to cover that whole thing about the Senate Sergeant at Arms. For the Speaker's knee-jerk reaction to yesterday's unprecedented event, and God knows how Congress lives for its knee-jerk reactions, into hell with the future consequences, to immediately call for your resignation after you have been denied again and again by appropriations for proper security outfitting the Capitol. And I wrote several of those testimonies, dang it, and to blame you personally because our department was doing the best they could with what they had in our comparatively small department size and limited officer resources, and because other agencies stepped in to assist just a fraction too late. Again, for Congress to demand your resignation is spectacularly unjust, unfair, and unwarranted, the staffer wrote Irving, according to the email included in the report. This is not your fault or son's fault. If anything, appropriations should be hung out to dry, the staffer added. But again, what do? They blame the law enforcement officers who they never gave it to. And why? Why did they do this? Because they needed to create a narrative, people. They needed to create a narrative. So what you do is you create security issues. You don't give them the resources. You don't give them the ability to stop it. And then you install people like Ray Epps into the crowd so you can then get this whole thing to take off the way you want to, so you can have the narrative you want. Lisa, it's so good to see you on. There you call. It noted that Pelosi's chief of staff, Terry McCullough, and another aide assigned to Pelosi's staff, Jamie Fleet, had regular contact with police and the sergeant at arms over the security planning starting in December 2020. At one point, McCullough was so involved that she was asked to edit a security plan letter that was going to lawmakers a few days ahead of the events. Irving sent the draft to McCullough and Fleet and requested any edits, comments, or concerns. McCullough responded shortly afterwards with edits. The report faults Irving for being distracted by other possibilities and a top intelligence official for the Capitol Police for making changes to intelligence analysis that kept frontline officers from knowing the dangers they were about to face that day. Officers on the front line and analysts in the USCP, that'd be the Capitol Police's intelligence division, were undermined by the misplaced priorities of their leadership. Those problems were exacerbated by the House Sergeant at Arms, who was distracted from giving full attention to the threat environment prior to J6 by several other upcoming events, the report said. Okay. Well, of course, because he was distracted by Nancy Pelosi, as we've gone over all of that stuff already contained within there. And I don't. It's tough to believe in coincidences all the time. The Senate Sergeant at Arms passing away just before he's supposed to give his testimony, and then we're just supposed to believe that's all good. And 9 of the 12 officers all of a sudden. Do you know that of those people involved in the Wiener laptop? That which would totally implicate the Clintons. 3 of them, 2 of them. Committed suicide within 10 hours. And then number 3 went down within 10 days of the other 2. How do you just stuff it? Coincidences? What a coinky dink, huh? What a coinky dink. Anyways, this is big news, and we're getting this stuff out there. Now, I know the obvious question is, well, so we find this stuff out, what does that mean? I'm going to tell you folks something. Some of you are not going to like me for this. I'm just going to say it like it is. But I've been watching the whole debate over elections right now, right? And so Donald Trump is saying, hey, we need to go all in on ballot harvesting. But at the same time, every state with a Republican governor needs to be going to 1 day no mail-in. I agree with both those points right now. We are not at a point where we get to write the rules of the game. You guys understand that? The rules of the game are set. So what do you do in a state that allows ballot harvesting, people? I don't know how you don't engage in that fight. And people are going to be like, no, you can't do it. Well, until we get the power of the purse in the legislature, we've got nothing. How are we going to write laws? So if we're going to actually go to 1 day, 1 vote, no mail-in, how are we going to do that unless we can write the laws? You have got to. We've got to win at this point, people. I'm just saying we got to win. However we win, we have to win. Way too much is at stake. We've got big consequences that are coming from this failed regime. Okay, so Eric, somebody said, Neil, please have Eric Van Mechelen on your show. FG, I don't even know who that is. I'm sorry. I just, the bottom line to all this is people say, well, they just changed the laws. I understand. Gosh, people, I just, nobody understands this. Those of you who followed my channel, through being at 2 strikes twice, other strikes, being demonetized, all of it. You guys understand where I'm coming from. And if other people don't, well, heck with them. I mean, I can't. One thing I've learned, people, is you cannot beat the internet. People at some point are going to believe what they want to believe. You know what I'm saying? They're just going to. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter anything. Okay? That's just what it is. And I see it all the time. And then people say things like that. Here, you guys want to see it? Like that? One of the dumbest comments I've seen lately. Soros endorsed DeSantis. Who the heck is trying to perpetuate this crap? Okay? If you watch the video, there is nothing in that was an endorsement by George Soros. It was simply him laying out what he believed was going to happen. Now, you don't have to like Ron DeSantis. I really don't care. I actually like him. I like Trump. I like DeSantis. I like anybody who will, pass good legislation and appoint good judges and actually take on the woke tards. Okay? That's where I'm at. I mean, seriously, I don't care who the person is. Um, I'm no fan of Mitch McConnell. I am no fan of the Paul Ryans. No fan. Okay. Uh, I just not. Wasn't DeSantis a former Navy SEAL? I mean, which oftentimes, they can be, some of those people. I mean, you got Dan Crenshaw. Look at a disappointment he's been. Talk about an establishment hack. But I would still take Dan Crenshaw over Nancy Pelosi. All right. So I just, and everybody's gonna be like, oh well, I got these goods on DeSantis, and they can't even produce any receipts. It's just like I'm so sick of it all. We take our brightest stars and then pit them against each other and run around talking like we trash, like we know something that we don't even know. I'm just so sick of it. I'm so freaking sick of it, people. I mean, golly. We got to win. We got to stop bickering, okay, about nothing. Yeah, he was an attorney for SEAL Team, wasn't he, DeSantis? He was attached to SEAL Team. Wasn't he an attorney, Phil? I think that's DeSantis, okay? I'm so tired of politics, people. Politics wrecks everything. Wrecks freaking everything. Here I am talking about politics, but it wrecks everything. He was a JAG officer who worked with SEALs. Thank you. And so it's yeah, and then I get a comment like this, and I love Truth Matters. Truth Matters follows the channel, but DeSantis is buddies with Paul Ryan and Karl Rove. We actually don't know that. Now, does he talk to them? Yes. So one of the things you need to understand, my gosh, I worked at a company. Did I like everybody there? No. Did I have to work with everybody? Did I have to talk with them? Might I say nice things about some people? And even though not everything about their character was great, I mean, some of this, you gotta just understand that, people are going to have to work with. It's like I love Abraham Lincoln, and I love reading the history on Abraham Lincoln. And do you know what he had to put up with his military generals? My gosh, McClellan sucked. He sucked. He was constantly subverting Lincoln. But you know what Lincoln said? Well, I gotta go with what I got. I got to go with what I got. And he did. And McClellan, as pathetic as McClellan was, he could at least rally the troops and kind of hold the army together. And yet that was all he had. He didn't have any good generals. All the good generals were in the South. Hey, seriously, Stonewall Jackson, the greatest general of the whole Civil War, and he was in the South. So, it's just one of those things. At some point, you're just going to have to accept the fact that we have to be pragmatists, and these whole ideological purity tests just aren't working so much for us. They aren't, and we look like a bunch of children bickering at some point. And I just you fight it out in the primaries as best you can while still not burning bridges, and then once you get that process done, at some point you do have to unite behind behind that chosen candidate. And so Scott said General Grant is a war hero, won the Civil War. Understood, but Scott, General Grant was not available in the Eastern Theater at that time, and he was proving himself out in Alabama and those types of places. I understand Civil War history. I used to get Civil War Times, all this stuff. I've toured the battlefields. I love Civil War history, but Grant did a fine job there at the end. But General Stonewall Jackson was far and away the best general of the Civil War. I'm sorry. People don't believe that, but you just have to study it more. So, so Truth Matter says, whatever you think of DeSantis, he is not ready for presidency. We need experience, tried and true. So again, I typically the best presidents, if they come out of politics, do come from governorships because it is an executive position. So to that end, I mean, I don't think DeSantis would be bad. But would Trump be better? I would still like it to be Trump, simply because I just think he's going to be a different president in his second term in terms of how far he's willing to go with things. So look at that. Several of my ancestors served under General Jackson. That is awesome, Truth with Tom. So anyways, I got to wrap the show up. So again, there it is. DeSantis getting bigged up by George Soros, trick or do. He didn't. Freaking stop it. Soros never endorsed DeSantis. These are the most ridiculous comments. Okay. So yeah, they did defame Trump nonstop. That's why, I have lots of reasons why I'd like to see Trump back in there for a second term. Some of them are you can't even say on YouTube, you know that? Anyways, I love y'all. Okay. Just keep fighting the good fight. Go check out mypillow.com, promo code Lumberjack. Go visit the merch store. All the links are below in the description. The comments are there, and peace out. Keep fighting the good fight, people. All right? Love y'all. And yes, Wanda, DeSantis never said he was running. Exactly. Thank you very much.